This time on the Magick Kitchen Podcast, we're tackling the dangers of AI in witchcraft. I'm Leandra Witchwood.
And I'm Elyse Wells.
And welcome to the Magick Kitchen Podcast, where we talk about magic, kitchen witchcraft, herbs,
and everything in between.
Magick Kitchen Podcast is funded and supported by thewitchwoodteahouse.com, offering a variety of hand-blended loose leaf teas as well as loose herbs for all of your ritual, spell work, wellness, and everyday enjoyment needs. If you would like to support this podcast while sipping a great cup of tea, head over to thewitchwoodteahouse.com and find the magic that's in store for you.
AI is the latest technology that is changing the landscape of the world and really ushering us out of the age of information into the age of disinformation. And it's being used really a lot in people's witchcraft practices.
Really a lot. I like that.
I mean, it's kind of surprising me how much people are quick. I mean, it's quick. AI, ChatGPT launched public in December 2022. And since then, it's only been a few years. And since then, I feel like people rely on AI to verify what they think is happening in their spiritual practice or to get information. They're using it like a search engine, or you're using it to better understand symbolism or tarot even. So this episode, we really wanted to tackle the dangers of that and why it might be time to step away from AI in your magical practice. And also maybe we'll find some useful applications for it as well. Because I'm trying to be open-minded. My husband's in the tech world.
Right.
You know, he's been following the growth of AI. He actually worked for an AI company for many years. And, you know, he's really like always trying to assure me like it is just the latest thing. And so there's going to just be these growing pains. And I wasn't as alive and cognizant for it as I'm sure some of our listeners were. But the .com burst was the same sort of discomfort for the world. And Y2K was a good time. So I understand this is a pattern. It's a cycle. But we're here to give you some tools to move through that cycle and take what does work and leave what doesn't, because a lot doesn't.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. We have to use AI with a level of discernment. And I think that's the problem. We're using it as a tool to just tell us what to do. And that's never been witchcraft. Witchcraft has always been the path that questions. And so if we're not questioning this bot, then we're blindly following what it says. And AI makes mistakes. It makes a lot of mistakes. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is that you have to train AI before you can start using it accurately. And if you're not training it before you're using it, you're getting false responses. You're getting bad responses. And I was doing some tests with this, and it kept pulling things up that were just blatantly wrong. And I'd started this test when I found out that people were using it to formulate their herbal remedies. Ooh. And this was so dangerous, so dangerous, because AI doesn't understand the context or the nuances of many herbs and spices and remedies. One of them was saying, yeah, sure, you can use mullein as toilet paper. And I've seen this repeated on social media. Yeah, you can use it as toilet paper. If you're out in a pinch and you're out in the wilderness or the woods, you can use mullein leaf as toilet paper. No, unless you like a little bit of irritation in that area of your body, you do not want to do that, because the hairs on mullein, which AI would not know this, they are irritating to the skin. You have to treat it in a certain way before you can use it on the skin. And yes, mullein is used to soften the skin with those hairs, but you'd have to process it in a way that it's not irritating to the skin, because they will irritate. They almost like fiberglass. If you've ever worked with fiberglass, it gets under the skin and it can really become irritating. And if you're allergic to any kind of hair or irritation like that, or have really sensitive skin, that's going to be a very, very bad day for you.
Yeah. Well, and I saw a post recently about AI will recommend eating essential oils. Like it'll give you recipes with essential oils as ingredients, or I remember seeing this on Pinterest many years before AI. Somebody had a lavender lemonade recipe going around that was just adding lavender essential oil to it. And I remember this is a long time ago. This was probably 2015 or something. And I remember it because it was so shocking to me that this thing had gotten a lot of repins. But then it ended up, all the repins were people warning not to do it. And whereas today I'm seeing a lot of misinformation just being reposted, being retweeted, being re-whatevered. Not that I use Twitter. I don't even know. Repost, I guess, is what I meant.
Yeah, I don't either. No.
But like those are the things that worry me, is because of the onslaught of information, people are taking what a large language learning model, which I think that's what people need to remember. Chat is not a search engine. Yes, it's scraping the internet for information, but every time somebody uses chat becomes less reliable because it's training on itself. So people are posting blog articles that are written by ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whoever. Insert here your favorite AI monster.
Right. Whatever it is.
And then that blog post that was written by chat to begin with is now showing up for chat to scan through. So information that is watered down or incorrect or flat. I mean, a lot of the times if you ask chat for some sort of, understanding of a symbol that you got in a dream, or if you ask chat to help you understand something that happened to you, like especially as we get into the question of intuition and spirit, which I really want to touch on, it's going to just be scanning from these lesser sources that are more chat and more chat. And so I've noticed I don't really use AI very often. I was using it a few months ago to try and find primary sources. So it used to be good at, if I said, can you find for me the very first publication that refers to, like I was doing research on the Greek myths. So I was going through Pausanias and Erodes and the mythology cycles that we find in the plays. And so these are super public domain sources. And so chat was able to scan through them and actually find me, the exact verse number, or like where Hecate is named with this epithet, things like that. It will not do that anymore. And I don't know if it's because of the incorrect information that other people have pumped into it, or if it's maybe chat, maybe like OpenAI has less access to public domain files now. I really don't know. But that was an application, and now it is no longer. I also have seen people mentioning how it doesn't understand astrology. It literally doesn't. It doesn't have an algorithm for it, so it'll give you the wrong house. It'll give you the wrong everything. And yeah, so there just needs to be a deeper understanding of how chat works. It's not just searching the internet for an answer for you. It's compiling an answer based on its previous data. So that data might have been fed in by somebody writing a high school, what I did over the summer paper. And so it's just about a kid who went hiking and did use Molyneux's toilet paper. That doesn't mean it's good advice.
Yeah. And when we're in our craft and having the experiences that we do that are personal, that's personal gnosis. And that's something that only we can articulate, that if we can even articulate it, because half the time when we experience these heavy spiritual experiences or have these spiritual downloads, it's really hard to articulate, and chat is not going to be able to articulate that for you. It's going to give you some flowery words. It might be able to write a poem for you, but it's not going to capture that true experience. And if you're trying to formulate your spells or your incense blends or your herbal remedies, or name it, whatever it is you're trying to do for your ritual practice or your spiritual practice, it's not going to be able to capture the personal gnosis that you have that helps you create the magical item you're creating, or the ritual item you're creating, or the ritual itself. I find, like you said, it's really good at sifting through a ton of information and pulling out the data that you want from that massive amount of information. But like I said, you have to train it first. So if you're not training it with the information that you already have, that you already know to be true, and there's a way that you can, if you're using like chat, you can turn it off so it's not using your data to fill and feed other data. But I'm not sure. I don't even trust that. Because,
I wouldn't.
Yeah, sure. They say that you've turned it off. It doesn't mean that you actually did.
Yeah.
Right.
So just like how Facebook said we will never sell your data, and how many times have they sold our data?
How many times have they been sued over that and continue to be sued over that? Same with Google.
Now they're just allowed to do
Apple.
it. So no worries. No more suing.
Yeah, exactly. No more suing. They can do it now. So if you are training it and you're feeding in your personal gnosis into that, it's a very personal, very deeply spiritual experience that you had. Now you're sharing that with everybody in the world.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
it's going to be taken out of context.
And it makes me think, what is the witch's pyramid? It is 4 tenets that every witch is invited to follow. And I recommend you do. It's not like the Wiccan Read where there's, a lot of debate on. Really, the 4 tenets of the witch's pyramid are to know, to will, to dare, and to keep silent. Yeah. And I don't think you could be a witch without any of those. You can't really practice witchcraft if you don't know witchcraft. So there's the first one. We all start with the books. We all start with the podcast. We all love learning more. Then we learn will, how to direct our energy and our magic. Mm-hmm. Then we learn daring, which is, ooh, this spell's a little difficult. Ooh, this is a little different. Ooh, astral projection. Okay. Yeah, we up our game. We up our game as witches. We're always looking for more to do and try and learn. But that to keep silent. I've spoken about this at length, especially my students are probably like, okay, Elyse, we know this, but.
Like, shut up already.
But to keep silent is so layered. It's the most important of the tenets of the witch's pyramid because it reminds us to keep silent on what is meant to be shared, know what is for you alone, know what is for maybe just your coven or just your mentor or just your student group, just your container to learn about your experience. And know what is meant to be shared. Sometimes we do get messages that are, collective downloads or meant to be shared with social media or whatever it is, meant to be put in a book. But that to keep silent, when we post into chat, hey, I had this dream and this happened and then I saw this symbol and what does it mean? Now that's part of a collective understanding. And if chat gives you, so let's get into what I think is the biggest danger of AI for a personal path, because there's 2 biggest dangers. There's the collective damage and there's the personal damage. Right. In the personal, the biggest threat that AI is to your magical practice is a threat to your intuition. Because I'm seeing people not even reading their own tarot cards. They shuffle them, they select them, they snap a picture and send it to chat.
Oh my God.
And that is chilling to me because you are never going to learn the tarot that way. You're never going to learn your own message. In fact, you aren't going to get the right reading. I'm going to be that bold and say that because, for example, let's say I'm doing a reading for you and I pull up the death card. You put that into chat, it's going to say, a death is coming to you soon. Be aware that people might die. Like something very scary. But
it's going to be, scary and dark.
If I know that you are hoping for your company or your job that you're working at to transition away from this model that you've hated for so long and they're going to revive this thing and end this thing, that death card could be the best omen because you're like, oh, thank goodness this thing is finally ending that we've been struggling with. So chat is not going to know you. It's never going to know you. It's not a person. It's never going to be a person, no matter how good AI gets. And I know there's probably people that are like, oh no, chat gets me. It gets me. I pay for chat. And so it trains on my content and it knows my voice. And that might be true. It might be able to look like you, talk like you.
Right. Well, and that comes with training it too.
Exactly. But we have mythology about these things. These are monsters.
Yes.
This is not a safe thing, something that's going to mimic you. Mimics are never the good guys.
Mimicking. Yes, it's mimicking you. And that's where that critical thinking comes in. It's mimicking you.
It's mimicking you.
So it's
honestly mocking you the way chat self-validates. You ask it, hey, what's 5 plus 5? Oh, very astute of you to know that 5 and 5 can be added together. What? What? Why? First of all, why are we wasting resources on this much conversation? You're a language model, like just answer 10. But
and there's no accountability in this either. So if we're looking to AI to validate us, if we're looking to AI to create our rituals for us, to create our formulas for us, to be our magical mentor, our priestess, our priest, there's no accountability there. So when it makes a mistake and then you have to suffer the consequences, who's accountable there? You are, for using AI, right?
Yeah. I saw a really good
it's a harsh reality.
Like thread with chat somebody screenshotted where they asked chat, what's a good herb for this? And it gave them an herb that was poisonous. Hey, I'm choking. I called 911. Is there anything I could do? Well, that herb is poisonous, blah, blah. Like it will go back on itself too. It will, and it's not gonna, there's no recourse. There's no conversation to be had. And as we've talked about before, doing shadow work, doing a lot of deep practices like astral projection or remote viewing or even shamanic journeying. These are all things that are meant to be facilitated by another person. They don't have to be, but to learn astral projection or remote viewing with no guidance, like you're just trying it out at home, it's going to take an experienced practitioner years to get the result that they could get if they were guided by another person. Chat can't do that for you. There is so much that you need, that a mentor gives you. And I think that's something that I see so many people. It's the same thing with physical relationships. People are like, oh, I have an AI girlfriend, an AI boyfriend. Like that's also not going to give you weird. What a personal relationship will give you.
But how unhealthy is that okay, so we've had this conversation before about community and why community is so, so important. And I really think a lot of people are using AI to supplement the community they don't have. And first of all, that's horrible. You should always have community. And there are communities out there. You just have to find them. You have to go out and seek them. And AI seems like a quick solution to that, an easy solution to that. But AI is not going to challenge you the way a community will, the way a true mentor will. It's going to agree with you.
Yeah, it's going to feed your ego. And as long as you're feeding your ego, you're not going to develop on your spiritual path.
You're not growing. Yeah, you're not going to grow. And, sometimes I've done this before where I'm like, you know what, let me see what AI would do with shadow work. Let me see what it does. And again, it feeds the ego. It doesn't really challenge you to go deep. And I've heard people using it as a counselor. I've heard people using it to augment or supplement therapy. And again, it's going to feed you wrong information. It's not going to be there if you do if you are in crisis, if you like calling the ambulance. I ate the poison herb that you told me to eat, poison herb, and it's poison, you shouldn't eat that. Like now it's just gaslighting you.
Yeah. Which is a very egotistical thing to do. It's all ego, this thing, this learning model.
It is ego. Yeah, you're right. Mm-mm. Yeah, I just don't. I think it's a good tool if we use it as a tool to organize our thoughts, to organize massive amounts of data, as long as we know the data that it's giving us is true. So that means you're going to have to do the work anyway. You have to see what it gave you and then go research further to make sure what it gave you is true. So you may as well just do the research anyway.
Yeah. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, disconnected, or stuck in patterns you can't name, the feminine wound may be asking for your attention. I am hosting a free event December 3rd, 2025, to help you identify and begin healing these wounds. In ancient Greece, we called on the goddesses for strength, and in this masterclass and guided meditation, you will meet Artemis, Hecate, Hera, Persephone, and Aphrodite and receive their wisdom. This workshop explores the themes of 2026's Feminine Wounding Healing Retreat in Greece, where we visit these goddesses' temples. Join me live on December 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and visit elisewells.com/femininewound or follow the link in the show notes to register. So I'm going to talk about the biggest threat AI is to our planet, which is its use of water. Something I've been really warring with myself on is how can I get this out to people to understand that before AI, we didn't have anything to compare this experience to, where our choice of engaging with a tool is a choice to harm the environment directly. Yes, power plants have always caused some damage. Even using tap water, I don't know necessarily that all of the ways that our city infrastructure is built is necessarily good for the environment. So we could extrapolate it and say, well, in a way, anytime we use a modern technology, we're probably hurting the environment a little bit. That's probably true. But the reality is that for every query that somebody puts into ChatGPT, gallons, multiple thousands of gallons of fresh water. They cannot use seawater, salt water, brackish water, and they can't use wastewater. It has to be fresh water, is wasted and used up for every query. And the biggest problem is imagery. Generative AI that creates images, and 10 times, probably more than 10, probably 1,000 times worse, is video. These are so bad for the environment. So if you live a life that is earth-based, if your spiritual practice is earth-based, which I imagine it is if you listen to this podcast, using AI is directly counterproductive to your spiritual practice. And people are not really ready to hear that because it's new, it's exciting, it's fun. And yes, I've heard the argument that social media servers also cause environmental destruction and all these things. That is also absolutely true. Using social media less is always great.
Yeah. And your EV is a horrible waste of the environment too, because all the minerals they use for the batteries are only mined in 2 places in the world, and it's slave labor that's used to mine those minerals.
And where are they mining them from? And the heart of the earth.
Yeah. And when the batteries go dead, you can't reuse them. You can't recycle them. So when the batteries are dead, they go into landfills. They get wasted. So there's a lot of things that we do on an everyday basis that are totally harmful to the environment.
But AI is an unprecedented level of water waste. That's
and if we can control it, let's control it. Yeah. If we can control our waste, then let's control our waste. If we can use no paper towels and use cloth, let's do that. We can choose not to use AI, let's do that.
Yeah. And that is always what I come back to is when I'm talking through with people, okay, what they hear it, they're like, okay, I want to put the earth first. In my book, Sacred Wild, I call this an earth intuitive mindset. We come at our lives with earth at the forefront. How can my intuition guide me to make the choice in any given situation that is better for the earth? And 9 times out of 10, what's better for the earth is the easier option for the human. It's something a little bit, it's like not raking your leaves once they fall. I heard my neighbor raking yesterday and it felt like nails on a chalkboard. I was so upset because this time of year, we're recording this in November, you're listening to this in November if you're listening to it live when it first comes out. But this time of year, leaves fall. We have windstorms, leaves fall. But those leaves they help your ground get healthier as they decay and compost. But they also
nutrients,
they're filled with nutrients. They're also a breeding place for insects. So all those lightning bugs that we always lament are not coming back fast enough every summer. That's because they have to be fostered under dead leaves. And so if you rake your leaves, you will not have lightning bugs. So a lot of the things we choose to do actually hurt the environment. So if we do less, that's always good. AI is the same way. Fight the urge to use those image generators. Don't go and do those challenges of you as an Egyptian priestess. Just don't do it. Just resist the urge. Just have some fun with it in your brain. Do a meditation. What would I look like as an Egyptian priestess? Maybe a past life will come forward. So really.
And past life. I'm glad you brought that up because The AI is not going to tell you what your past life is.
Oh my gosh, don't. Why am I shocked? Why am I surprised that people are doing that?
Yes. It's not going to tell you what your Akashic Records reading is. It's not going to tell you your past life. It is. Yeah, we need to stop. We need to stop this.
I had to go into the Greek lamentations there. That was.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So let me play devil's advocate really quick. The one cool thing that I have seen, we did this as a fun thing in a group chat with a few friends of mine. We used chat to be our biggest cheerleader. That was kind of fun because when you're in a funk, when you're really, really having a bad day and you need somebody just to build you up, it will do that for you. You know, if you just ask it to be your biggest cheerleader and ask it to just help you become in a better mood. If you're using it once, cool. I think that's a good use of it, even though, I don't know, use it with discretion. But yeah, that's the only thing that I found that I enjoyed using chat for, was to be a cheerleader. When you forget your worth and your value in the world, like, and you have nobody around you to remind you of that, why not? Like, find that happiness, find that little bit of joy in whatever you can find it in.
And if you're feeling that, like if this has been triggering to listen to and you're like, oh no, chat is my best friend, chat gets me, Elyse, I'm unsubscribing to the podcast. There is, if you can just not use the image stuff, because they're still calculating this. This is so new, people. We do not know. But they reckon that each image generated is using 500,000 gallons of fresh water.
Wow.
That's unfathomable.
Now can you explain like how they're using that water? Because
they're
saying
servers.
that it's using water,
so
that has to be cool.
They get hot. So yeah, you have to cool it down, and it has to be fresh water because salts and other chemicals would damage the materials.
Generate heat. Yeah. And they will conduct heat.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear that it's not just this frivolous thing that she's throwing out there that it's using water. They're using the water to cool the servers and these massive servers. So if you've noticed also, Pennsylvania is being affected by this. If you're noticing a huge hike in your electric bill.
Oh yeah, Maryland.
It's because of these server farms. Yeah. Because they are using so much electricity. They're hiking the prices up for average people instead of focusing on these Google or AI, whatever, whoever owns AI, I don't remember the name of the company. OpenAI. Yeah. So if they're not charging them, they're charging us.
So when people say, it's free, it's a free tool. No, you're providing them free information every time you use it.
Yes.
Don't worry. It will eventually be behind a massive paywall or be for corporations only or it'll just continue to degenerate as it has. I mean, I've noticed the more people use it, the more bad information is in it, and the more useless it becomes.
Personal. Yeah, and the more personal information you put into it. And think of it, this is really just a big marketing tool. They're farming you for your personal information the more you use it. Even if you do click that little button that says, do not share my information,
And people worry about getting negative energy. Like, I think that's still, to this day, the biggest question I get is, how do I know that only good spirits will come through when I do this ritual? Or how do I know my energy shield is working? Or all these things. Whenever we're using AI, we're opening ourselves up. We're sending our personal, spiritual, and just personal information into this cloud, into these servers. We don't know what that's inviting long term. You know, I don't mean to sound like a Victorian who's afraid to get her photo taken, but we really don't know what they're going to do with this long term. And approaching any new technology, any new medication, any new hobby, anything new to us, we have to approach it with discernment, always.
Right.
And that's my biggest takeaway I want people to take, is that AI is hurting the environment at levels we've never seen a technology hurt the environment before. It is a threat to your intuition. As you try to build an intuition practice, AI will not help. It will give you a crutch to say, well, I think that the Queen of Swords is about me stepping into my power because I'm going through this at work and I really need to stand up for myself. but let's see what chat says. And then chat says, Queen of Swords represents aggression and blah, blah. Oh, that seems different than what I thought. I guess chat knows better.
Right.
Like, no, you know better. You just gave yourself the right reading. Trust your intuition. Chat can actually be a hindrance to our intuition practices. I really believe that.
Right.
And, you know, the other biggest takeaway is really just be aware of the disinformation that's out there. And we didn't mention it, but I do want to touch on that a lot of authors and artists now are not real people at all. They don't exist.
That's really awful, because art is a personal expression. It's not an AI generated. It shouldn't be.
And it's not generated
expression.
It's scanned through other artists that exist and then slightly tweaked.
Yeah.
So it's theft as well. So whenever we engage with AI content, we are, you know, condoning theft. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is the great ethical test of our times. Honestly, that's what I see it as. Every era had it. You know, we have a little more than one now, because we have this test of our times in technology. We have the test of our times in the environmental at large that we can try to sort of make a difference in. And but we also have the test of our times in integrity, you know, standing up for the people that are being thrown into vans in the United States, for the people that are losing their rights across the country, bodily and, you know, gender. And it's a tough time. But these are the times where our magic is most needed. It's when we need to have the best intuition skills we can have. It's when we need to show up in community in every way we can. Because the internet is I still maintain, the internet itself is a great gift, because it brings people together across the globe for connection.
Right.
And if you're using the internet for that, that's great. But chat is this great corrupter of the internet, where it actually makes us less human than ever. And it has people talking to it instead of other humans. And I don't think that's a mistake. Right. I don't think that's an accident.
And I think that's the biggest disservice to our craft, is when we are not talking to other witches. Yeah. Or we're not experiencing we're not developing that personal gnosis, and then that collective agreed upon gnosis.
And gnosis means knowledge. It's the Greek word for knowledge. Right. So, if, you know, just so everybody knows where that term comes from. Knowledge is experience. You know, you can read something in a book 1,000 times, but I promise you won't really understand it until you've explored it, experienced it.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about that a lot. Like you can have knowledge, you can know something, but you don't really understand it until you can put it to use, until you can put it into practice. And that's where the wisdom comes from. And if you're working with AI that does not have wisdom, you're not getting the full benefit of whatever it is you're practicing or learning about. And, you know, herbalism is a great example of that. You know, lighting candles for a Sabbath and why you do that is a good example of that. Knowing the reason behind it, knowing why you do the thing you do, because it benefits you in other ways that are unseen, that are not on the surface. And AI is very surface level. It's very surface related.
Yeah. And the work we do as witches is just deep. It's just plain deep. It gets deep. Yep. And so you're going to that shallow pool of AI is not going to nourish you for long. And the longer we perpetuate our connection to it, I think the less we'll be able to grow. It starts to suck us in like a mire, like a tar pit.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're living this shallow existence, and we don't know why we're not feeling fulfilled, why we're not feeling nourished on our path. And I think this is a great symptom of that, of AI being a great symptom of that non-nourishment. We're just gaining info, maybe incorrect info, often incorrect info. We're diluting our intuition, and we're not digging deep. We're not digging deep into what the path really means and how to navigate that on a more profound level.
And we'll leave you.
Hey there, witches. Leandra here. I hope you will join me for a free event. This is my Yule gift to you, a free live event
on
2
a
days,
positive
December
note here,
18th and 19th.
remember that
where we were going
witchcraft
to dive
is
into
a
some
living
kitchen
tradition.
witchery. Check out my website,
We are out here
leandrawitchwood.com, to sign
practicing
up.
it,
Blessed be.
building on the traditions that came before us, creating new traditions every chance we get, every time we circle with others. And that is where we want you to spend your magic. That's where we want you to put your energy, is in life. And the digital world, the internet, it's believed that between 50 and 80% of what we engage with on the internet is not real. It's called the dead internet theory. It's the idea that most of the content, the comments, the spammers, the trolls, they don't really exist. They're just bots there to stir and gain engagement.
Rage bait.
Yeah, they're just farming data and engagement and making money on that. So
Yeah.
because anytime, if you have a bigger account on social media, you can apply for monetization and play that game. I don't play that game, but it is a game that can be played. And if you create AI slot videos, 5 to 10 a day, using different farms, and then you troll different accounts, it really can be somewhat lucrative. It's definitely soul crushing, I can imagine, but it is a thing that's done. And so just remember that too. Like, there's not a lot of life going on the internet. Life happens off the computer, off of the phone.
It does.
So that's the core of this, is like, get out there, go practice some witchcraft, talk to a tree, lay in the grass. I mean, I was having a really low energy day the other day, like really just like everything felt like a slog. I just wasn't like, and then like you start to feel this guilt of like, oh my gosh, I have so much I have to do and I'm not doing any of it.
Anything, yeah.
And then you start to, it just really gets toxic in the brain. And I went outside and I found this like, and it's cold, like it was cold, but I went outside and I found this like patch of grass in my yard that was getting some sun on it. And I just like brought my whole body down to the ground. And then I leaned forward and I put my third eye and my palms down on the earth. And I just breathed in the decaying leaves and the soil and the grass and the little clover flowers. And I felt so much better. Like, I still had to rest. I wasn't like, cleared, better. But it was such a relief. It felt like when you're a little girl and everything gets really hard and you find that adult that you trust and you just like grab their skirts and just cry it out. Like, that's what it felt like. I didn't even have to cry. Yeah. The land just took that grief and the negative self-talk and all those things that were going on for me to, because I don't do well with, I'm a classic overachieving gifted kid. Like, I do not do well with improductivity in my life.
Nuh-uh. I'm the same. And it goes, not even if you can't go outside, like it was cold. Like if you have an aversion to cold and you don't want to go outside, like Sunday, I was exhausted. I had been doing too much. I probably hadn't had a day off in close to a month. And I was spent. And of course, in my head, hustle culture was coming through. Like, I had things to do. Oh, you better do this. You got to get this done. You got to get that done. You didn't do that yet. And I'm like, you know what? No, I need to rest. So I just did a simple ritual with a cup of tea. Which tea did I drink? I was drinking several. I think the one I landed on was the nettle and rose hip tea in my shop.
Oh, I have that one. I love that one.
Oh my God. That one, when you are spent, like that one will instantly nourish you. It instantly like improves the mood, makes your body feel better. So I sat in my room, in my bed, because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a ritual of self-care. And it was dedicated to me in that moment. I drank the tea. I nourished myself. I hydrated myself. And then I took a freaking nap.
Nice.
I never nap. If you know me, I do not nap.
No, you do not.
I do not nap. No.
Confirmed.
And it was necessary. And the next day I got up and I was on fire. Like, I had energy. I fixed myself in a sense, but AI couldn't do that for me. No talk therapy could do that for me. No journaling could do that for me. I literally had to do a little tea ceremony where I was settling into myself, into my higher self, letting my higher self just cradle me.
Yeah.
And I slept. And I needed that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I promise, people, if you bring your craft to the active, like Leandra shared, like I shared with my third eye to the earth. Like, it doesn't have to be active. It's not a marathon. Magic is never a marathon.
No.
But it's about engaging with it. You have to will. You have to dare beyond the knowing. And I promise you will have a much more vibrant craft for it. And I hope you'll think with discernment about AI.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest message is use AI sparingly, know that it makes mistakes, check your work, or just do your research to begin with and augment it, just completely bypass AI completely, and connect with those who can show you how to live that magical life, those who you see actively doing it. And it's going to be the simple things. It's not going to be this big dramatic display on social media. It's going to be, maybe you're at the grocery store and you overhear somebody talking about this cool ritual they went to. Lean into that. Lean into the people in your area, into your vicinity that you can gain trust with them and you can start working with them. You can gain knowledge from them. You can gain examples from them so that you too can live your life in a magical way. Whether it's putting your head to the earth and letting the earth take your grief, your pain, your sorrow, your fatigue, or sitting in your bed with a cup of tea and letting your higher self cradle you as you nourish yourself with a hot brew, whatever it looks like for you. That's how you do it. Merry meet.
Nice.
Merry part.
And merry meet again. Thank you for joining us on the Magick Kitchen Podcast. Please visit my website, leandrawitchwood.com, for news, information, and more episodes.
I'm Elyse Wells. You can learn more about my current offerings and my upcoming retreats to Greece at ElyseWells.com. That's ELYSEWELLES.com.